I'm Rob Skinner, and this is the Rob Skinner Podcast. Today on episode 70, I'm going to talk about how to make 2021 your best year so far. I'm talking about how to set goals, keep a balance, develop systems, and plan for success in all areas of your life. That's coming up on the Rob Skinner Podcast. Welcome back to the Rob Skinner Podcast. My goal is to inspire you to live a no-regrets life, make this life count, and multiply disciples, leaders, and churches. Hey, it's January 1st. This is New Year's Day 2021. And I am so excited to have a new year. My wife and I and two of our kids just got back from San Diego. We went over there for a couple days. We went surfing. And it was a lot of fun. I love to surf, love to get into the water. It was a little chilly, but we had a great time and spent a couple days there in the water. So that was fantastic. Just planning, thinking, praying, dreaming about making 2021 our best year ever. And I hope you're excited about this new year. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be so many great things happening. And even with my family, as we just sat and thought about all the good things that God did in our lives in 2020, there's so many good things that happened. Of course, we got sick with COVID and the pandemic hit the world. But in the midst of that, God totally blessed in so many different ways. And I bet you probably feel the same way. There's a lot of good that happened. So as we talk about 2021, my title today is How to Make 2021 Your Best Year Ever. I love this quote from Henry David Thoreau, and he said in his writing on Walden Pond, he said, "I know of no more encouraging fact than the unquestionable ability of man to elevate his life by conscious endeavor." And I love that passage because what he's saying there is, listen, God's given us the power to choose how we spend the short time we have on this earth. You can live a no regrets life. You can make this life count. And early January and late December is such a great time to decide, okay, how do I want this year to go? How can I make a difference? You can be different. You can achieve things that you've dreamt of. The new year is an encouraging period because we can select at what level we want to live, how we'll live, and what kind of people we'll strive to be. I love December and January for this very reason. It's funny, over the past month, I've spent days, it's one of the things I enjoy doing. It's one of my hobbies, just scribbling down my dreams for the new year, writing, rewriting, cutting stuff out, and writing down the things I'd like to accomplish. And that's why I thought I would just share with you, here's, how do I do it? What do I do? And maybe from what I do, maybe something will help you to make this your best year ever. So step number 1, review your goals from last year. Review your goals from last year. One of the most important steps is to look back on last year and ask yourself, how did you do? Did you hit any of your goals? Did you set any goals? Where did you fall short? It's really important to do your best to review the past without judgment. A lot of times we look at our goals and always go, I just didn't hit anything and I fell short. And we get so down on ourselves. And I just want to encourage you, don't do that. Don't do that. Listen, I look at my goal list from this past year and I had a big growth goal for my church. Guess what? Didn't happen. Now I'm happy with how the church did, all things considered, but I never knew COVID was going to come along and totally shake the foundations of everything. So I try not to go too tough on myself. Just review the past without judgment. Don't be too hard on yourself. Just ask yourself, what's getting in the way of hitting my goals? What can I do better this year? I thank God for the good that happened in this previous year. And I look at what I didn't get done, and then I set up a plan to live my best year so far. So what did you do? If you didn't set any goals, I want to give you a friendly challenge. It's time to start setting some goals. because people that make this life count and live with no regrets, they're goal setters. They've got a plan. They've got a vision. They've got a direction that they're heading in their life. And so it's really important to have a plan for what you want to do in the coming year. Now, on a previous episode, I talked about, taking a look at your ministry. And so this episode's a little bit different in the sense that I'm talking about your personal life, not just your ministry, although that it can be affected, but I'm talking about you as a disciple, as a person. These are personal goals. And so I talked about taking stock of your ministry, but this episode is much more to do with just you as a person and personal goals. So first one is review your goals from last year. The second thing I do is ask myself, what would get me excited this year? What would get me excited this year? Tim Ferriss, who wrote the book 4-Hour Workweek, wrote that happiness is a very vague target when making goals, not a very useful target, because happiness is somewhat vague. Instead, he counsels his readers to ask themselves, what would get you excited? And I totally agree with that concept. As you dream about the future, what one goal, if you achieved it, would get you the most fired up? Now, when you start thinking about the future, and as you go down lists, I like to pull out a yellow pad and write down, what things would get me excited. And typically, I'll just start writing some things down, but a couple of them I can sense it in my body, like, oh, that's really cool. That would be really awesome. And I can feel it. I can just feel there's something different. Maybe it's the Spirit just kind of triggering something, but that's where you got to really pay attention and go, okay, that's something I'm going to need to really lock in. You want to pay attention to that sense of excitement, because unless a goal triggers something deeply motivating, there's little hope in accomplishing it. I mean, there's got to be something that really captures your emotion, your heart, your body, that you go, yeah, I want to get that done. That'd be awesome. It'd be so exciting. And so first goal, again, review your goals from last year. Second thing, ask yourself, what would get me excited this year? And then the third thing is set balanced goals. Set balanced goals. Now, what I mean by balanced goals is goals that support your complete life. You have a multitude of roles and responsibilities. Maybe you've got a job. You're working in a company. And then maybe you've got a family, or maybe you got some young kids that you're a parent to, and you're also serving in the church somewhere. Okay, you've got a lot of hats that you wear. I want to succeed in my career and in my family and in my finances. I don't want to sacrifice my family at the altar of money. Do you? I don't think so. I set goals that help me move forward in all the areas that I consider important. And so here are the categories that I set goals for in 2021. And I'm going to include these in the notes on the podcast. And so you can grab these for yourself. But first one is spiritual goals. You got to set some spiritual goals. Like, who do I want to become? That's what I ask myself. Who am I trying to become? Of course, you're trying to follow Jesus, but what kind of person do I want to really grow to? Secondly, what do I need to start or stop doing to grow spiritually? And third, what can help my inner world develop? What can I learn? What books do I need to look at? So set a spiritual goal for yourself. How do you want to grow in your inner world, in your personal life? And then I set a goal for family. Okay, how can I be a better husband? How can I be a better father? What do I want to do to improve my family life? Okay, got to have great relationships. Third category that I set goals for is money. Money's important. It's really important to have a plan for your money. And so I set down, what are my savings goals? How can I make more money? How much do I want to give to God? And I just sit through there and just think through there. And it's important not to be super spiritual and go, oh, money doesn't really matter to me. Okay, money is important. Okay, Jesus never said money wasn't important. In fact, by the very fact that he talked so much about it, he realized he is showing that it is important to people. Okay, it's important, and it's important that you become the master of your money. Fourth area to set goals in is your health. How are you going to eat? What are you going to eat? What's going to be your diet? And secondly, what how will I keep my body fit? What am I going to do to train my body and keep it in shape so I can be useful to God and take care of this temple for as long as I'm on the earth? Next area is mission. How can I make a difference making friends and reaching people for the gospel? Well, how can I make a difference in evangelism? Number 6, career. How can I excel in my job? What do I need to learn? What skills do I need to gain? And then a 7th category that I never overlook is fun and adventure. Okay, what bucket list items am I going to check off this year? What am I going to do that really I enjoy doing, that I have fun doing? Like this past year, I skydived for the first time. That was awesome. That was one on my bucket list items, and I did that. And so another thing that I wanted to do was surf a lot. And so I got a chance to surf in August, and then, like I mentioned, in December. That was great. So I really like that. So what bucket list items are you going to check off this year? And then where and when and for how long will I go on vacation? Now, if you don't go on vacation, I want to encourage you, man, now's the time to put it into your schedule. Sometimes we feel guilty. Oh, I can't take a vacation. Listen, you can and you should. It will help you. It'll give you different thoughts. It'll take you out of your routine and help you. I mean, it's clear that Jesus took time aside from his ministry. He went to lonely places. He prayed. He climbed mountains. He did stuff that was different. You got to change it up. Okay, so I hope those categories help you, at least spur some thinking: spiritual goals, family goals, money goals, health, mission, career, fun and adventure. Number 4, the 4th thing that I do in setting goals is for every goal, I set a system to support the goal. One of the best books I've read recently is Scott Adams' How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big. Scott Adams is one of my favorite authors, and he's actually a cartoonist, but then he has written a couple really good books that I'd like to do a book review on it for a podcast coming up here, but it's a great one. But one idea he shared totally revolutionized my goal setting. He shared that goals without a system to accomplish them make you feel like a loser. If you've ever set goals only to stare at them all year long as you make no progress accomplishing them, you know what he's talking about. By definition, a goal is something yet to be accomplished. It's a target, but you're not there yet. Until it's done, you can feel like you're a loser because you haven't accomplished that goal yet. Now, there's a problem there because if we never hit the goal, we feel like, oh, I'm not really doing anything. And some of us have solved this problem by not using goals at all. You go, okay, I can't miss a target if I don't even aim at it. That isn't the best solution. Instead, you need a daily system that will carry you closer to your goal every day. Now, let me just share with you some of my own goals this year so that you know what I'm talking about. Like spiritual goals. My spiritual goal is to imitate Paul and multiply disciples, leaders, and churches. I want to imitate Paul, just like you said, imitate me as I imitate Christ. I want to have his mindset. I want to have his impact on missions, his writing, his way that he viewed God, his trust level. Well, that's kind of a vague goal. I mean, how am I going to know if I get there? It's still a good aspiration, but my system that supports that goal is I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. daily and have a miracle morning, which is time reading the Bible, praying and meditating. I'm going to go for a little walk. I'm going to journal a little bit, and I'm going to repeat my affirmations. That's my miracle morning. And so I do that every morning, and I want to do that, make sure that it's powerful. That's going to help me to get more and more the mindset of Paul. Okay, my family goal. Meet each of my kids weekly for breakfast or for lunch. Okay, I've got adult kids. I want to connect with them. I want to stay connected to them. One of the best ways that I found is just going out with them once a week or every couple of weeks and just having breakfast or lunch and just talking. And when I can get them by themselves, they really start to open up and we connect. It's awesome. I've got a money goal. There's a personal loan that I owe and I need to pay that off. And then I want to create a 3-month emergency fund. That's my goal for this year. And I've got my health goals. I'm not going to go through all of them here, but I've got these these goals that I've set, and I'm excited about them. But for you, what's your goal this year? Maybe you want to become an evangelist. Okay, that's a great one. So that's a great target. What do you need to do? What do you need to learn? Who do you need to have disciple you? Where do you need to go? What needs to happen for you to accomplish that? Or maybe you want to get a promotion at your work. That's awesome. What skills are you going to need to learn? What books are you going to need to read? What is going to give you the advantage to get that promotion over the competition? Maybe you want to be fruitful. Maybe it's been a while since you helped someone become a Christian. Okay, what's going to need to happen on a daily basis? What kind of system can you set up to accomplish that goal? Just saying, I want to be fruitful this year, that's a great wish. It's a good goal, but you need a system. Like, for instance, my mission goal is I'm going to start a weekly online Bible talk. And I'm going to invite people in the church that they want to bring their professional friends to join that Bible talk. I'm also going to start a very close-knit, small group to reach professionals in their 40s and 50s. And I'm going to be working on that every single week, and in fact, every day, trying to encourage the people in my small group. So that's my system that I've set up. So anyway, for example, I'm going to talk a little bit here about my career. Like, okay, I want to become an expert in small church planting, growth, and leadership development. Now, this is already an area of strength I would consider it to be, but I want to get better. And so for my church, I've got a calendar all set. I've got a plan. I'm going to program that and follow through with it. I want to help other people to grow, help other small church leaders and people like yourself grow. So I'm going to write 1,000 words a day and put a blog out and take one video a day and record a couple podcasts a week. That's my system. So that's my plan. So set up systems to support your goals, and that will really help you achieve what you want. Number 5, the 5th thing I do is I post my goal in a place where I can read them daily. So post your goals in a place where you will read them daily. Have you ever written down goals and then lost them or discovered them years later hiding at the bottom of your drawer and you go, oh my gosh, that's what I set out to do? Oh boy. Don't let that happen to you this year. Type up your goals or write them up and then post them where you can see them and pray over them every single day. If something unprecedented happens, like a global pandemic like we saw last year, you can have the option to change them. However, don't lose track of your desires. God is able to do more than you can ask or imagine. Don't let faithlessness get the best of you and allow you to settle for low expectations. Set goals and systems up, post them, pray over them, and prepare for your best life so far, your best year so far. If you're enjoying this podcast, let me ask you a favor. Let your friends know about it and how to find it. You can subscribe to it right there below. I'm just praying for you to have the best year ever. If I can help you at all this year, I want to. That's my passion, is I want to help you to grow as much as possible. My goal is to inspire you, to make this life count, to live a no regrets life, and to multiply disciples, leaders, and churches. Have a great day and make this life count.